Hi, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Welcome to your August 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. If you're only going to watch one horoscope for the month, I recommend that you watch your ascendant sign horoscope first and foremost, because it will be the most accurate for you overall. Now, if you are a Capricorn sun, you will find that this horoscope pertains to your career and your life goals, whereas you Capricorn moon people will find that this horoscope relates more to your family life, your relationships, as well as your living circumstances and your emotional well-being. So let's begin with the first transit of the month. On the 1st or 2nd of August, depending where you live in the world, Mars is going to form a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus at 18 degrees, and this will be in your 5th house. Now, at the end of July, I covered the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction, which took place on the 31st. So I strongly recommend that you go back and watch those horoscopes. So that'll be the last 5 or 10 minutes of the Capricorn horoscope for July, because the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction is kicking off a new 15-year cycle. Now, at that time, Mars wasn't quite at 18 degrees, so that's why I'm mentioning it now, because Mars has caught up to Uranus. So what's taking place around the 1st or 2nd of August will be a continuation from the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction. So with this conjunction occurring in your 5th house, this is quite exciting, and that is because the 5th house is connected to our passions, hobbies, our interests, and it is also a house which is connected to romance, owning our own business, as well as children. Now, the energy of Mars and Uranus together indicate that something can come about really quickly. So, on one hand, some of you may have a sudden download of information when it comes to starting your own business. So, you may have an idea that you want to act upon, or perhaps you have ideas for your existing business, and for some of you, you may just decide that, you've got an idea for the name of it. So the .com, maybe you're purchasing a .com for your business, or starting a new social media page, or if you already have one, this can see your social media page taking off, maybe going viral, or perhaps um, you guys are just discovering that you have a new talent, because the 5th house is connected to creative talents. So, because Uranus brings about events which are sudden and unpredictable, it could be that this idea comes out of left field, or the exposure that your business is getting, takes you by surprise. And the 5th house is also connected to giving a performance. So, this could be an acting performance, an athletic performance, and the 5th house is also connected to politics, and that is with respect to being an individual politician. So you may have some sort of progressive new idea, and this could be from a political standpoint, especially because Uranus rules over rebellion and humanitarian issues. And we've got Mars ruling over your 11th house, which is connected to large groups and communities, and Uranus is connected to large groups and communities anyway. So you may be putting forth your political opinions via your social media page, and this could get people talking about whatever it is that you're doing. On a different note, the 5th house, like I said, is connected to romance, so this could see something either starting up quickly and totally out of the blue in an unexpected way. Now, that would be indicated by the fact that conjunctions represent something new starting. Having said that, Uranus is connected to separation, and, suddenly breaking free from something. And Mars is also connected to cutting things out of our lives. So, on the romantic front, if you're single, you may decide that you suddenly want to start dating again, or someone could walk into your life, and this could be very unexpected. If you are already dating someone, you may decide that you just want to call it quits. And I just want to make a distinction here between dating, which is the fifth house. So this would be more casual. This would be someone that you do not have children with. This would be someone that you do not live with, someone that you are not married to or engaged to. All of those matters are saved for the seventh house. So this is connected to ending something that's a little more casual or informal, or that you just haven't taken that next step with. So on a different note, the fifth house is connected to children, and we've got Mars ruling over your fourth house, which also rules over family. So the fifth house is children, the fourth house is family, and this can see you actually falling pregnant unexpectedly and out of the blue. Having said that, I would want to see an activation in your own personal chart to the eighth house, and also something that involves either your chart ruler. So that would be if you are a Capricorn rising, so an activation to Saturn, or to your moon in Capricorn. And by activation, I mean, um, you know, this conjunction making an aspect, or maybe you've got anyway, I'm not going to go into it too much. I kind of regret starting that line of conversation. Nevertheless, you may decide out of the blue that you want to adopt a child, foster children, start a family, fall pregnant, or you may be looking to go with a surrogate. Okay, the reason I'm saying this is because the North Node is in your fifth house as well, and that can tie in um, having children or welcoming children into your life via the non conventional route. Now, lastly, with this transit, I would caution you against um, making any risky financial investments. Oh, it's 111 right now as I'm saying this. So, the reason I'm saying that is because the fifth house is connected to speculative investments, and Uranus rules over your second house, which is connected to your personal finances. And then we've got Mars ruling over your 11th house, which is associated with passive income, and also, um, marketplaces. So this conjunction does carry a very risky energy to it. The fifth house is associated with risk-taking behavior, and the combination of these two planets in conjunction with one another can lead to um, a big loss of money. On the other side of that, investments that you've already made could unexpectedly turn a really large profit. So take that as you will and apply it to your own personal situation. Just remember, this is a general reading, and I'm not, qualified to give out financial advice. Disclaimer. Now, on the 4th of August, Mercury is going to enter the sign of Virgo, and that means it's going to transit your ninth house. Normally, I would not mention Mercury's transits through the signs, as in changing signs, and that is because Mercury moves so quickly, it only spends 3 weeks in one sign. So, Mercury is going to be transiting your ninth house until the 25th of August, and the ninth house is connected to travel, culture, religion, spirituality, philosophy, and your belief systems in general. So, Mercury, the reason why I'm mentioning this transit, by the way, is because Mercury's very strong in Virgo. It rules over Virgo. It's also exalted in Virgo. So, with the ninth house being connected to travel and Mercury representing communications and research, this can see some of you consulting with a travel agent, or you may just be putting together your own travel itinerary. You could be downloading some sort of app for language. Maybe some of you want to learn a new language, or perhaps you just want to learn about other cultures. Now, on a different note, this can see you educating yourself on different religions, different spiritual belief systems, different philosophical belief systems. And also, the ninth house is one of the houses which is connected to your political beliefs or alliances, because the ninth house rules over ideologies and beliefs of all kinds. So you could be considering your political alliances and also the different religious and spiritual perspectives that you may, or beliefs, I should say, that you may hold. And this would allow you to do so in a very rational way and an analytical way. So Mercury, in its purest form, represents objectivity and rationality. So this is about you understanding the ways in which your personal biases may be influencing your belief systems, and now you may be redressing that. On a different level, the ninth house, Mercury through the ninth house, can see you communicating with friends who live overseas, or perhaps you're submitting paperwork for a visa. You may be making inquiries about enrolling in some form of higher education. So you may be contacting a college or a university, or you could be contacting someone who is like a father figure. Obviously, they don't have to be male. This could just be someone that you really respect and whose advice you trust. Maybe you'll be reaching out to a coach or a teacher of of some form, whether that's religious, spiritual, or academic. And lastly, this can see you having like a positive shift in your mentality. So you'll be thinking in a more open-minded way, or you'll have the ability to think in a more open-minded way. Of course, you have free will, and it's up to you to capitalize on this energy. Now, on the 11th of August, Venus is going to enter the sign of Leo, which means it's going to transit your 8th house, and it'll be there until the 5th of September. So wherever Venus goes, whatever house it's transiting through, we can enjoy whatever that house represents and whatever it rules over. And also, Venus is the lesser benefic in astrology. So this represents good fortune coming to you via the house that it is transiting. Now, with Venus in your 8th house, this activates your mutual resources. So your financial situation that you share with other people doesn't have to be romantic. It can be anyone who you have joint resources with. So with Venus ruling over your 10th house, which is connected to the governments in general, as well as the court system. By the way, we've got the 9th house and the 10th house both being connected to courts, just to make that known. This can see you receiving court-ordered fees or money from the government. Now, on a different note, you could be combining resources with your significant other, especially because Venus rules over your 5th house. And if I didn't mention it just before, Venus rules your 10th house. So that's why I took it in that direction. Now, for those of you who are in a committed relationship, your significant other's pay can increase. They could just receive like a lump sum of money out of nowhere, or this could be financial assistance that they receive from their family, which is in turn impacting you. Now, with Venus ruling over your 5th house, which is connected to owning your own business, this can see you receiving earnings from your business. Now, some of you may be investing in the stock market, and I just want to say that this is a good nearly 10 days after the Mars Uranus transit. So with Mars having um, moved away from the potency of that conjunction, I'm not telling you not to invest in the stock market around this point in time, not telling you anything to do with your money. Nevertheless, with Venus ruling over your 5th house, which is connected to children, your child custody arrangement could improve amicably, because Venus rules over harmony, negotiations, and agreements and things being in balance. So if you have a child with a former partner, or whoever you have children with, if you share custody, or if you are unhappy with the arrangement of that custody agreement, it can change in a way that it suits both of you. That doesn't mean you have your children 50% of the time, they have your children the other 50% of the time. This means that both parties walk away from the agreement being happy. On a different note, you could be receiving child support money from the parent of your child. So, again, this would show that they are being forthcoming, and um, you don't have to grapple for it or demand it. They're just coming forwards and, like I said, being amicable with you. Now, on a different note, sorry, that was my crystal, one of my many crystals. On a different note, Venus in your eighth house can see a new sexual relationship beginning, especially because the eighth house is connected to sex. Venus is a planet of relationships, and Venus rules over your fifth house, which is connected to romance and dating. For those of you who are already in a romantic relationship, this can see you enjoying more sex with your partner, and even just enjoying more emotional intimacy with your significant other. Now, two more things with this transit. One, wherever Venus goes, this is where we can be spending money. So Venus rules over beauty, and the eighth house is surgery. So you could be spending money on some sort of cosmetic surgery during this nearly 4-week period. And then lastly, the eighth house is connected to the occult. So again, you could be spending money on a reading. So this could be astrology, tarot, numerology, Reiki, seeing a psychic medium or a clairvoyant. And on that note, I do offer private one-on-one readings. So if you want to book an astrology or a tarot reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description box below. Now, on the 18th of August, Venus in Leo in your eighth house is going to make a trine to Jupiter in Aries at 8 degrees in your fourth house, and Jupiter will be retrograde. So if Venus is the lesser benefic in astrology, we've got Jupiter being the greater benefic in astrology. So both planets are associated with finances, money, wealth, good fortune, good luck, and prosperity in slightly different ways. Nevertheless, when the two join forces in a positive aspect, such as a trine, which is what we're seeing here, we can receive some sort of blessing or something going well, or receive some sort of generosity or improvement in our financial situation. And that is especially given the case that we've got Venus in your eighth house, which is a money house. So the fourth house in astrology is connected to family, property, your living circumstances, as well as your psychological foundations. And the eighth house is also a very psychological house. So, remembering what I said about Venus through the eighth house and how this rules over your mutual resources, I'm going to run through a few different ways that this can play out for you. So, on the 18th of August, with the trine between Venus and Jupiter, you may be receiving financial support to help you buy a home. Maybe receiving money or financial support to facilitate you relocating, even if you're not buying. Now, it doesn't just have to be money. Someone can be lending their resources to help you move. Just as an example, maybe someone is able to help you pack the boxes. They're actually lending their time to assist you. So someone could also be using their resources to help you to sell your property. Now, this is likely to be family, because we've got Jupiter in the fourth house, which is family, and Jupiter rules over the third house, which represents siblings and relatives. It could also be friends as well, and maybe it's your lover who's helping you, with Venus ruling over the fifth house, or maybe even your children are helping you in some way. This can indicate that your living conditions can be improved by receiving support or help or financial aid in some way, shape, or form, or maybe some of you will just receive like a nice gift for your home. Now, um, just give me 1 second. Okay, so on a different level, this can see you receiving healing on a deep emotional level. Okay, you could be receiving a blessing on your emotional happiness and well being. Even if this is not coming through from another person, maybe you're just having some sort of psychological breakthrough, which allows you to let go of past grievances or forgive people who you feel have wronged you. And this is especially the case if it is connected to healing from difficult situations or relationships within the family unit. Now, lastly, with this transit, this can see some of you falling pregnant, or you may start trying to conceive. We may be adopting a child, especially as Jupiter rules over your 12th house, which is connected to um, adoption, refugees, people who don't have a home. Just giving you an idea of what the 12th house rules in general. So, obviously, that's now two indicators for potentially starting a family. On the 20th of August, Mars is going to enter the sign of Gemini. So pay special attention to this transit because Mars is going to spend 7 months in Gemini in your sixth house, whereas ordinarily Mars would only spend about 7 or so weeks approximately in one sign. So, the reason why Mars is spending so long in one sign is because it will have a retrograde cycle, which will be from the end of October through till the 12th of January in 2023. So, whatever you are initiating from the 20th of August or between the 20th of August and the end of October before Mars is retrograde, this is what you'll be working on during the retrograde period. So, Mars is connected to work, your responsibilities and duties, your daily routines. It's also connected to loans, debt, and also health, as well as any sort of conflictual situation which is out of balance or causing you some sort of distress. Now, because Mars is a very assertive and proactive planet, it likes to be in the sixth house. It gets shit done. Okay. So, Mars in the sixth house can see you initiating a new work project, especially if it is long term, given that Mars rules over the 11th house. So you can be putting a lot of time and effort into a long term project or into seeking out employment, especially if you're out of the workforce, or maybe you want to transition to a new job or to a different industry. Now, this could be connected to 11th house and 4th house areas, and that is because Mars rules over your 11th house, which is Scorpio, and it also rules over your 4th house, which is Aries. So that could cover anything from construction, the property industry, the car industry, organizing large groups, events, working in a community or for a community, or doing some sort of community planning, as well as anything to do with humanitarian causes, and also, marketplaces and science and information technology, just to name a few. Doesn't have to be that though. Now, some of you may have responsibilities and duties that are very tedious. Maybe it's going to take you, 7 months to get through such tasks. The seventh house is also connected to cleaning. So maybe you're going through a cleanup of your house, and this requires you to spend a lot of time chucking things out or sorting through things. And you can certainly get through a number of unpleasant and just repetitive tasks during this period of time. So you can be extremely productive. And also, this can see you cutting out some sort of habit, a bad habit that you really just want to quit. If that is you, just know that Mars in Gemini in your seventh house And having a retrograde period there is one of the best times for you to do so. And some of you may be trying to obtain a loan, and this could be for a property, given that Mars rules over the fourth house, or this could be for business, given that Mars rules over your 11th house, which is a business house. And some of you may be working hard over the next 7 months to pay off a loan. Now, lastly, this can see you finally resolving some kind of conflict that you have with another person, especially if this is a family member or if this is a friend or someone who's like a business connection of yours. And actually, lastly, this can see you focusing on your health. So you may be making your health your number one primary focus between the end of August and the end of March in 2023. So you can absolutely get to the root cause of some sort of health issue. Yes, it might flare up during this period of time, but somehow this can lead you to diagnosing the issue and coming up with a strategy to get a handle on it or resolve the issue altogether. Now, lastly, for the month, on the 24th of August, Uranus is going to station retrograde in the sign of Taurus in your fifth house at 18 degrees. So, everything that I mentioned at the beginning of the horoscope when I discussed the Mars and Uranus conjunction, all of that could be what you are focusing on when Uranus is retrograde. And Uranus will be retrograde until the end of January in 2023. So you could be looking at how to actually put your ideas for starting a new business into motion. You can look at rebranding, repackaging, and also you could look at how to scale your business up even further. And for some of you, if you had met someone, romantically speaking, at the beginning of the month, this can see you now working on taking that relationship to the next level and essentially the conjunction between Mars and Uranus, and even Mars, Uranus, and North Node at the end of July, indicated the sudden download of information and taking that first step. Uranus retrograde will allow you to act on those ideas, act on um, that sudden epiphany or aha moment that you had. And so, Capricorn, that's all I have for you for August 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead, and I will see you guys in September. Oh, and Brianna, just to answer your question, the wait time for a reading is 1 to 2 weeks at this point in time, and my booking calendars will show you all of my available time slots for booking a reading. So enjoy your month, guys, and I'll see you next month.